Hi, it's Chris with Implied Music. I can't believe I've never done a long video on this piece before. I did a short on Chopin's E minor prelude. It's Opus 28? Yeah, Opus 28, number 4. And here's what's spectacular about it. First of all, it's just heartbreakingly beautiful. And there's two things that are worth studying in it. The first is this sort of minimalist use of melodic tone. He kind of keeps coming back to the same melodic tone, but that same melodic tone is reinvented by this complicated set of chords, which are voiced just by moving individual notes, one note at a time, from chord to chord, kind of down a half step. It's masterful. It's sort of it's a linchpin of kind of, advanced intermediate piano playing, very expressive piece of music. Its harmonic language has everything to say about, let's just say, 19th century romanticism, which is, in a way, the underpinning of sort of like epic cinematic music right now. Let's take a look at Chopin's Prelude in E minor. I think you'll be surprised that it's a very approachable, really useful piece of music. You guys know I don't really like to show notation, but it's worth looking at this score. And the reason it's worth looking at it is it's very clear what's happening, even if you don't read music. In this top line, which is the melodic line, you can see that the initial leap up goes to one note, which is a B in this case, and then proceeds kind of staying right around that world the whole time. Everything just in half steps. Up a half step, down a half step, up a half step, down a half step, up a half step, down a half step, down another half step. And guess what happens next? Down another half step. That use of just half step shifts is constantly sort of unbalancing us. And then underneath that, again, visually, it seems to me very apparent what's happening. Of course, I read music comfortably, but here you can see a block inverted E minor chord whose individual notes travel very short distances. The rule of parsimony. Chords sound best when individual voices within the chords just shift by a step up or down. And that's what Chopin has done here with the arrangement. The bottom two voices shift down. The top voice shifts down. The bottom voice shifts down. The top voice shifts down. The middle voice shifts down. The bottom voice. You see what's going on here? Listen to how it sounds. I'll play just this first top line. Oh, I should put it over here so we can see what's happening as well. All right, first line. It's crazy sophisticated and kind of constantly shifting. So what has just happened, I guess, would be the question. We'll just look at it and talk it through. The very first section is E minor. And then this is B, F sharp, and A. It's a B7, right? B sus, because that E is still hanging out. It's a prepared dissonance. The E stays, and then it falls down to the D sharp. D sharp being the major third of the B7. And we're going to get one more kind of surprising moment here. I love this shift. That's a very strong sensation here. That's an F, an A, and a D sharp. Kind of a French sixth, F7, isn't it? And then the B on the top. Really interesting world. It's kind of a Lydian F7. What do we expect? It resolves in a surprising way to D minor. D diminished. E7, sinking down to A minor. So where were we? We were here. And the next sequence will do exactly the same thing. Let's record a little bit more. I'm going to just hop in from the A minor. That's the beginning of the line. So here's our A minor. And I'll tell you what, that moment right there sounds so much like a 2-5-1 in C. I just ended right here. So gorgeous. Well, that C kind of keeps pushing forward, and we wind up down on A minor, and it continues forward. I'm going to probably talk about only the first half of this because there's just so much going on. Okay, we're going to begin again from bar 10, which was for a moment C major 7, but then it reveals itself as kind of more of an A minor. And we're back to where we began. That last sequence is pushing towards a B7 sound in order to sort of get back home again. A minor, a quartal chord resolving to B7, little Phrygian version of the B, up a half step, and then back down again. There's the B7, and then this gorgeous gesture, a little triplet, and back to the E minor. And that's halfway through the piece. The same thing, the same chord progression basically happens again, and it happens in a slightly more condensed form. It pushes together the chord progression a little bit faster. Instead of 4 beats or 2 beats, you'll get 2 beats or 1 beat as the chords move quickly from one to the other. A strict harmonic analysis of this type of voice leading isn't always fruitful because the composer takes liberties with the conventions of the rule of parsimony, of simply moving by a voice to generate kind of new sonorities. And Chopin wasn't afraid of doing rather strongly dissonant chords, new sonorities that are just the result of the gesture of moving by a step, by a half step. You can do that, and it's something I've done videos about this before. It's well worth exploring for yourself. Grab a chord shape you like, move one note. Keep that, move a different note. Keep that, move the top note. You'll get chords. You don't even have to know the names of them. It's just an effect. And it's a beautiful effect because the rule of parsimony pays out for us. Our ear is happy with the sound. Let's just kind of play through that first section one last time. Well, I think the Logic edit screen stopped scrolling somewhere in there, but I hope you could follow how those individual voices just kept sinking down and down and down. Voice leading tends to go down. Eventually, we'll need a longer keyboard. You just hop back up again. It's totally acceptable. Listen, I hope this has been useful. Like and subscribe, ding the bell. You'll be notified when I do my videos. I'll see you next time.